I met a gypsy.
I guess the experience of doing the Australian Motocross series last year, obviously it got kind of cut short, but it was a massive step in the right direction for our industry. So I guess what were your impressions of like getting that gig and being involved with, you've obviously been super involved with Supercars, which that's the pinnacle of Australian motorsport. So yeah, I guess what was it like being involved in that kind of world?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it came up out of circumstance. I was moved aside from my role at Supercars in 2020, and an opportunity arose to join the Australian Superbike Championship and the Australian Pro MX Championship. And I hadn't really had much to do, particularly with motocross in my life. Like the superbike side of things was probably a bit more of an easier transition because I knew some of the riders and I'd had been to races and I sort of knew a couple of the guys quite well through Will. So that wasn't as daunting to arrive and be like, oh shit, okay, now I've got to talk about this. The motocross side of things, like I'd been to a couple of races with Will, and I suppose, you know, he used to be quite into watching, you know, Supercross and AMA and all that sort of stuff. So it's not was totally foreign to me, but I didn't know, you know, at any sort of depth.
Feel like an expert.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Not at all. So I basically, when I got the role, just like immersed myself in this motocross life and listened to your pods, like all these different podcasts, and was watching like all this stuff on YouTube. And Will would come upstairs. He's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like in a deep dive on the YouTube, watching the old school motocross and stuff. But I actually really loved working on the sport. The teams were, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but they were like surprisingly really well presented. Like the big trucks and, you know, particularly like Honda and Yamaha, like, you know, their presentation when you arrive at the track was pretty unbelievable. It was really, really cool to see. I mean, all the riders just, you know, such elite athletes, and they really are athletes. Yeah. But as I got further involved in it, it annoyed me that they don't get the recognition and the media that they really deserve. And it's just so hardcore. Like, I mean, you know, like these guys, you know, they'd have a crash or there'd be an accident or they've got a broken wrist and they had surgery last week, but they're on the bike this week. Or, you know, I remember one race, I don't even know where we were, and Aaron Tanti went down. He literally had like tire marks up the back of his jersey. Yeah. He was all ripped. He had skin hanging out everywhere. And then it's like, oh, it's a back-to-back moto. Like hop back on, get on, off you go. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? What even are these people? Like, and I think motocross, they'd had a really tough couple of years because of the way that the series sort of, you know, the direction it went, and then obviously with COVID. So I was really hoping that we'd be able to, you know, bring it back to where it deserves to be on a national level and get some money invested and sponsors and that sort of thing. And I think we did a really good job in that first part of the year before the season got cancelled again. It's a real shame that I'm not part of it again this year because I really felt like we were getting some momentum back hopefully that can continue. But yeah, like I've got nothing but positive things to say about the sport and about the riders and the teams. And yeah, it was really cool. Yeah,
I guess that sort of answers one of the next questions or lanes to kind of go down is being an athlete yourself. Can you look at these guys and be like, holy shit, you guys are so gnarly?
Yeah, 100%. And most of my career I've been involved in sport in some way. I mean, mostly with motorsport, with the cars, but with triathlon and running and various bits and pieces. And then you look at these guys and girls, I shouldn't discriminate, but they're there, you know, they're like, it's what max heart rate for, you know, what 20, 30 minute motos. And then you've got to often do a back-to-back moto, and it's the mental side of things. And, you know, I think what sets moto apart from like racetrack is the racetrack, as much as it can change, like it gets grippier or it gets slippier or things like that, or if the weather, but it's within, it's within a, like the actual direction of the track doesn't change, or like, you know, there's not a random, there's not a random hump that comes on, you know, halfway through the race. Whereas, you know, moto, it's the track's changing every lap or every section of every lap. And, you know, and that's like the mental capacity that takes up, just to be knowing where you're going, as well as the physical side of things. And then you've also got, you know, 30 32 blokes or, people around you that are also just hammering. And it was pretty mind blowing just to be right there. I was pretty lucky. You get to be right in the thick of it track, when you're presenting and reporting and seeing, the best Australia has, in terms of on two-wheel stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy I had that opportunity, and maybe there'll be an opportunity in the future to go back there.
It's gnarly when you're on the track and the guys come past on the big bikes, like the 450s, and you can feel the ground moving as they're braking, and you can feel, and like there's like a vibration that comes off the bikes as well as the sound. Yeah. And I think that it is if it could get showcased in the right way, there probably is a lot more kind of TV package appeal than definitely what we're showing right now.
Yeah,
right?
I totally agree. And look, I've been in a very privileged position. I've been standing on a grid prior to Bathurst. I've been there, like, you're in the thick of it. But to stand there at the start gate of a moto in MX1 particularly, when you've got the best Australia has to offer lining up, and you're standing there, and it's so I don't even know what the word is, like, because there's nothing polished about it, like it's real raw, and it's dirty, and it's like there's shit everywhere. And I was, couple of times getting sprayed with rocks and sand. I'm like, well, you'll learn that very quickly where to stand. But standing alongside those bikes as the gates drop is probably one of the best experiences you can have, like in terms of at a sporting arena, like just the feeling of what is about to happen, and then seeing what happens, who grabs the whole shot. It's a pretty cool experience.
Have you been to many Supercrosses yet?
No. Oh, years ago in Melbourne when was it like the Ryan and Sando were running like
Marvel?
Like years, like I'm talking years ago.
2019,
we had an opportunity to go, but I think what they're potentially what they're doing in the sort of months to come and the next couple of years is going to be it's going to be cool. I'm really excited for it.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.